The 2025 Met Gala was held. The theme was Superfine Tailoring Black Style, a dress code of tailored for you. So everybody was tailored. And this year's theme coincides with the Costume Institute Spring Exhibition, which happens every year. And it's of the same name, Superfine Tailoring Style, Black Style. And explores the history and significance of Black fashion, particularly the concept of Black dandyism. Now, we have a guest. I'm hoping that he is ready to jump into this conversation.
Well, yeah,
It's
now.
it's none other than Professor, brand strategist, and social commentator Al Reynolds. Hey,
Good
Al.
morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Thank you so much, Mr. Brown and Miss Anderson, for having me on. This is my first hit with you guys, so I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. And
We're excited to
last
have you.
night was a time, so much Black culture, so much Black excellence. We know that the Met Gala raised 31 million last night, the biggest gross in the event's 77 years. I think that says a lot about Black folks. What were some of
Yes.
your takeaways, Al?
Listen, there are so many takeaways here. With like you mentioned before, and as this discussion has evolved this morning, we're watching, or we're in a time where people are trying to erase Black history. People are trying to erase Black influence. People are trying to remove from the schools all of the things that we brought to this country and the influence that we have globally. And what this Met Gala did was it said, we aren't going anywhere. We have dominated in sports. We have dominated in politics. We have dominated in education. We have dominated across all fields. And this last night was us dominating in fashion. Last night, it would be considered, think of it kind of like the Oscars of the fashion industry. But this is the one time that you're able to see athletes, you're able to see models, you're able to see designers, you're able to see actors and actors come to converge on one place to celebrate this institute and the influence of fashion in the United States on the world. Now, the reason why we love this one more than any of them is
Tell us why.
because it had Black people. It had Black people dressed the flyest that you've ever seen. But to be honest, we are also very excited about this because this is a step. Now, everyone needs to understand the Metropolitan Museum of Art historically has been a very racist institution, and
Mhm.
they've
Mm,
been called on their racism on many levels. Remember, the artifacts that are in that museum were stolen from us as slaves. They were stolen from us, and we have never received reparation for the thievery that occurred and the money that they're making off of the thievery that they
mm.
have had on our history. So this is also them paying homage back to our influence, and we love it. And we know that it was inspired by Dr. Monica Miller, who her book was Slaves to Fashion, which was a dedication to Black dandyism and the styling of Black identity. So for the museum not only to have that exhibit this year, but also make sure that we made sure that this Met Gala was about our Black influencers, not only in entertainment, but
Mm.
also into fashion across the globe. This
Right.
is monumental. And I want to say this to everyone that's listening and who has a chance. Neil brought something to our attention. This is the highest grossing benefit thus far in the history of the Met Gala. But we need everybody's hands on deck. We need everyone to donate more because, as they are saying in the press today, they're saying that it was underperformed, like that it wasn't as flashy, it wasn't as nice, it wasn't as fun. You know how we combat that? We combat that by showing them not only do people of color bring more money, but we bring the most money ever. So we need everyone to go out and donate to Met Gala 2025, which is Black Dandyism. I donated my $100, but listen, it doesn't take that much. All we need everyone to do is donate at least $1. If you're
Mm.
listening to me, please go donate $1 so that we can show not only our influence on the clothes that we wear, but the money in our pockets as well. We can learn a lot from Dr. Jamal Bryant in this Target thing, and he is showing and speaking loud to the U.S. economy and the big companies. We need to do the same in this.
Mm.
Al Reynolds, you broke it down. I mean, you even stole some of my questions. You answered some of my questions before I got a chance to ask them because you really did a great job breaking it down. But um, what was what impressed you the most last night?
So, what impressed me the most, number one, is that it's our style. It's our style. We understood the assignment, and we understood the assignment on so many different ways. We understood the assignment. Quinta Brunson, one of the hottest names, A-listers now on the red carpet, on all carpets, on all entertainment carpets, decided to go with Sergio Hudson, an African American male designer, as she did her interpretation. Sierra, we love Sierra and Russell. She just decided to use her platform to highlight Laquan Smith, an
Wait,
African American designer.
wait.
We
Let's
had,
look at let's look right
oh,
here. We
sorry.
have Cardi B and ASAP Rocky. What do you think about those looks?
So, Cardi B, well, first of all, Cardi B always understands the assignment. We love that Afro. We love that
Mm.
Afro hairstyle, that Afrocentric. Her outfit was tailored to the gods. It was suit. Remember, it was supposed to be gender fluid. It's supposed to be all about the tailor, and her tailoring was impeccable. She is
Impeccable.
wearing money green, which is an African American color favorite. And when I say she hit all the marks, she hit all the marks. ASAP Rocky has been a visionary when it comes to rappers stepping out on the other side of redefining what and how you're supposed to look. And he has never missed when he goes on any red carpet, and definitely didn't miss this year. Congratulations, ASAP Rocky, because Rihanna appeared on the carpet looking just equally as beautiful but big, because they are expecting their third child. And of course,
She
she understood.
slay.
She understood the assignment even in her eighth or seventh month. So congratulations. Some other people that I really like. Oh, that's
That's Dolce.
Dochi. Dochi has been killing it this year. I was very surprised to see her in Louis Vuitton, but I think that was in support of Pharrell because he's the creative director of the largest fashion house in the world.
Right. A
That was
lot
what
of people thought that Dolce was gonna wear Tom Brown,
Tom Brown.
because
Well,
she
that's
wears
what
a
she's
lot of his
been wearing
clothes.
all
Mhm.
season. But I think because, and Tom Brown is a very suited and booted type of tailored brand, but I think she wanted to support, and I'm assuming she wanted to support Pharrell by wearing one of some Pharrell pieces. Now, this is my man right here, Andre 3000. Andre 3000 was someone that I was hoping to see on the carpet and turn it out, and baby, I don't know what this piano is doing, but I love him anyway. I'm,
They
I'm
said
sure
it's a
there's some.
story behind it. Yeah, I
Right.
don't
I'm
know what
sure
the
there is
story
a
is.
story behind it. I haven't seen it, but this I would have to say I was expecting him to really do his thing as far as the fashion is concerned, and he is a story within himself. But I think channeling his music and putting his piano there also speaks to dandyism, because remember, dandyism is basically your expression of saying that you don't have, it's a resistance expression that you don't have to conform. It's about identity. It's about dignity, and it's about defiance in the world. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's
You
defying
brought up
fashion.
something. You brought up something yesterday. Al joined us on the Shade Rooms coverage yesterday. For the Met Gala. You brought up the significance of the tail of a tuxedo.
That's
Can
right.
you briefly talk a little bit about what the significance of black men and women wearing the tail of a tuxedo last night?
Absolutely. So, what we understand about the tail of the tuxedo is that it is an expression of resistance. It is an expression of identity. It is an expression of no longer being held to a certain standard in order to express yourself and to be considered fashionable. You know, we always gonna put an extra long lapel or extra long tail on something, or collar on something, or a color on something. And we have to understand that the tail, which was worn by Lewis Hamilton, the tail, which was worn by Tiana Taylor, one of the best dressed on the carpet, the tail, which was worn by Coleman Domingo, the tail, which was worn by Dapper Dan. That tail represents our stance in fashion and our influence in the world. We do not and will not and ever will we bow down to the norms that you've defined as
Right.
fashion. We make our own. So the wearing of the tail is that expression. I had on tails last night. We saw that one of the fastest guy in the world, his name is escaping me, wore tails last night. Who else can
Noah. I think it's
Noah?
Noah.
Yeah, Noah.
Mhm.
Noah wore tails last night. The tails has a very significant expression, and it's sending an unspoken word that it's not only tailored, but it's an expression of us and who we are, and we don't have to conform. And that's the best thing about this entire night. We have been we have been put off these carpets or
Ooh,
not allowed on these carpets for years.
I love this
Yeah,
look right here. Desmond
you like
Idris. I mean
that's
Damson
that.
Idris. The dramatic
Yeah.
entrance.
I
I
didn't really
just loved it.
understand coming out of an astronaut or out of a race driver's jacket, but who cares? It was
Well, it's his
fantastic.
next movie. His next movie is he's a race car driver, and
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, so he was
Makes
tying
perfect
in this
sense.
next little
Well,
promotion.
here's the thing. So forever we've heard the expression "black don't crack," right? And
Uh-huh.
if there was a picture in a dictionary about black don't crack, it had to be Miss Diana Ross. Oh my
Absolutely.
God! Talk about Diana Ross last night.
Well, you got to understand, Miss Diana Ross has been on every carpet for the last 60 years at the highest level. For her to come and shut the carpet down, I'm not sure what she wore. Some were saying that it could have possibly been Chanel, but whatever it was dandyism at the finest. Her train went down 22 stairs. Her presence in her hat lets you know that it's about celebration. It's about us celebrating black fashion, us celebrating black designers, us celebrating black models, us
Yeah,
celebrating black influence. And you're absolutely right. She is also exemplary of black does not crack. But look at that smile, look at that
mm,
energy, look at that glow. It's something that no one can ever deny her greatness and also her still presence and influence in fashion.
yeah.
And you talking
And
about
that
somebody who is nearly 80 years old.
right. Another thing that we talked about was how a lot of white folks missed the assignment.
Right.
Dandyism is about color. There was lack of color. It was like some people were saying that the white folks thought that
Yes.
they wear black, they good, or they
Right.
were tailored. They were tailored, but there was just no imagination of the whole concept of dandyism. But one of my favorite white honorable mentions was Demi Moore.
Oh,
That bow
absolutely.
tie that she had
Yes.
on, that was
Yes.
met. That was
Yes. Yeah.
definitely
I,
met.
I think, Demi Moore did an excellent job as far as coming from the majority. It's so funny to me that you said that because
Mhm.
they hire stylists the same way anybody else hires stylists, and for a stylist to fall short at this level is it's right dang on right disrespectful. Because remember, this theme was about bespoke tailoring with cultural significance. So, one-on-one style, one-on-one. If you went to any styling school, all you great stylists that styled these A-lister non-melanin folks, you know that if you go straight to the books of Harlem Renaissance and you pull out pictures and you pull out patterns and you pull out textiles, you pull out seams, you pull out Western tailor, you marry that to vibrant colors and bold patterns, you use tons of statement accessories like
Right,
ornate canes, pocket squares, embellished hats. You also do gender fluid fashion, and it's a homage to black fashion icons as well. So they could have chosen many things to
right.
support us in many ways. And for them to fall short simply speaks to their stance on where we stand in black fashion. But don't worry, we still raise the most money. We still look better
Right.
than everybody else. And we still had more black participants in the history of the Met Gala since the 40s.
I know another thing that we paid attention to was how certain news outlets, because only certain news outlets had news feeds that everybody could
Right.
pull from, and we know none of them were black owned. But there was a moment, the Madonna moment and the Nicole Kidman moment. I think Sierra was on the red carpet during this time, and the camera stayed on Madonna.
But
And then when Angela Bassett hit the carpet, everybody wants to see Angela Bassett, but the news feed stayed on Nicole Kidman. And I mean, I just think like that just speaks to what you were talking about, like understanding the assignment, understanding
right.
who was supposed to be focused on. But I want to talk to you quickly about the chairs. But before, you had Ann Wintour. The honorary chair was LeBron James, who was
Yes.
MIA. But Savannah hit that carpet and she slayed.
Baby, she hit that carpet hard. Sure, let's talk about those chairs. Let's talk also about some of our icons that weren't there. Now, LeBron James, we cannot beat up LeBron James. LeBron James allegedly was not able to make it because he had an injury. I say the injury was not only on his body physically, but on his ego because they lost. But he's an athlete. But let me tell you something. We cannot talk negative about LeBron. He is the chair with the most influential woman in fashion in the world, which is Anna Wintour. When's the last time you saw a billionaire black athlete serve that role? Now, remember, LeBron has also been a trendsetter and a trailblazer for black men fashion when it comes to tailored clothes. When he first came out, he used to wear those big zoot suits, but he immediately brought it into a more tailored look and gave black males the permission to have tightness around their thighs, to show their ankle, to show their muscles. And what you've seen is nothing but fashion evolve in a different direction for black athletes. So we will always praise LeBron James and his influence on black male fashion, and especially for this event. Coleman Domingo was there. Now, Coleman Domingo, what a great guy. He has been for the last 2 years really cementing his position in the fashion world, not only in the African American community, but globally and
Mm-hmm.
also internationally and in the US with his fashions when he is styled by two black male stylists who have really brought him to the forefront. Last night he did an icon tribute to Andre Leon Talley by wearing the blue cape. In the beginning, everybody was like, what is that big old drape thing? That was his tribute to the icon Andre Leon Talley, who was one of the only black males that were allowed on the Met Gala carpet back in the day. ASAP Rocky and Pharrell, as you know, always kill it. But I want to give a special shout out to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, for those who do not know Lewis Hamilton, he is one of the biggest names in motorsports, but he is also evolved as one of the biggest names in fashion. Lewis Hamilton, a couple of years back, actually is the first athlete, the first black male to buy a table and invite only black designers to sit at the table when they were not being invited to the Met Gala. Lewis Hamilton did that as a multimillionaire with his influence and his money. He honored them, and that helped spark this conversation
Mm-hmm.
about making this Met Gala black this year and honoring black designers and black people
Man,
and black fashion. Our
man.
hat goes off to Lewis Hamilton, and baby, did he not wear us out on the carpet. He wore all white, and let's be very clear, Lewis Hamilton wore a black designer. And his name was Wells Bonner. Sorry, guys, I'm teaching.
Professor. Okay, so I think you brought up prices. So tickets for the Met Gala are as high as 75,000. Tables are as high as $350,000. Before we let you go, we have to talk about an honorable mention who should have probably been a co-chair. But let's give it up for Dapper Dan and his contributions to dandyism, hip hop culture. What did you think about his look last night, Al?
Keep talking. There's an announcement here at the school, so I'm just gonna wait till the announcement go, and I'll come back to you.
Okay, well, another Stacy, what besides Diana Ross, who did you enjoy?
Well, obviously, despite the baby bump, Rihanna. But I thought, and I think Al Reynolds has broke this down really well. I this is the first time, seeing the Met Gala and thinking, wow, just about everybody played the part the right way. Everybody, as he said, understood the assignment. So it was really enjoyable to see that nobody was uh, over the top. Really, nobody was. I just think that everybody did what they were supposed to do for the most part. Like, I wanted to ask Al Reynolds about uh, Lisa from Blackpink, as the question that I posed to
Oh
the
yeah.
audience, with the picture of Rosa Parks stitched into her underwear. Um, did you catch that, Al, at all? And if so,
Absolutely.
your thoughts on that?
Listen, I there are a couple of things going on here. First of all, I've never seen this many black people on the Met Gala carpet. And you got to understand what that means to have more than one or two or three or four. To see 50 plus black people on the Met Gala carpet is sending a message not only to our young black and brown kids, it's sending it to adults that you no longer have to conform. You too are beautiful. You too can dream. You too can go to the most exclusive events in the world and participate and look good and wear how you feel, what you think, like your expression. Why did she put Rosa Parks on her underwear? Because Rosa Parks was her identity. It was her expression. Rosa
Mm.
Parks stood for resistance. Rosa Parks stood for we will not conform. Rosa Parks stood for there needs to be a change. Rosa Parks stood for the basics of racism should not be allowed for any human being. It's not a civil right, it's a human right.
So
And it's a
wait, so you
human
think
right.
it wait, so you think it was okay for her to put Rosa Parks on her panties?
Listen, I think that remember, you can't make a rule and then when people follow it, you try to change it. So the rule was express yourself in the way that you feel like you want to express yourself in your expression of self identity, self expression. So if she thought that Rosa Parks was a homage, and that was going to be listen, I'm gonna find a positive because if you put me on my anybody's tail, I'm gonna beat you up. But that's a whole nother conversation, right? You're not gonna wear me on your butt. You're gonna wear me on your
Oh,
shirt or something.
man.
But that's another conversation. But to make that a part of the conversation, let's move it forward in a positive way. Rosa Parks stood for a lot of oppressed black people in America, and to have her on that carpet in one form of a fashion, I'm gonna find the positive of what it was, not the negative, right? So for me, I'm gonna overlook the positioning of Rosa Parks, but I'm
Okay.
going to definitely speak on her presence at the Met Gala. Now, Noel, you had asked me a question earlier,
Who is
and
Noelle?
I mean Neil. Listen, and
Uh-oh.
I've been to her house. I've been to her house on multiple occasions. She's fed me on multiple occasions.
Okay, no, but let's go back. We're running out of time, but we want to get a couple more questions in. I said an honorable mention should have been a co-chair. His contributions to hip hop and just fashion in general. What were your thoughts on Dapper Dan's look and his contributions to dandyism?
Oh my gosh. I mean, what can you say about Dapper Dan? Dapper Dan is dandyism. Dapper Dan has kept alive the Harlem Renaissance and the feelings of the Harlem Renaissance all the way up until the 22nd century, correct? Dapper Dan, remember, had a partnership with Gucci. And remember, Gucci used to be the sponsor of this event. Now, he no longer has that partnership. So there may have been some type of contractual agreement
Mm.
with him being on a chair or a co-chair with Anna Wintour. I would assume that it's very political. Everything around Dan and his influence, because his influence isn't just in the United States, it's international, has probably some type of political play in it. But to see him on the carpet and to see him absolutely just hit every mark from his eyeglasses to his accessories to his chain to his hat to his collar to his suit, and he had tails, to the art that he had on his clothes what he and how he wore it, which was his original, which is made by him, speaks to the spirit, and embodies the entire thing. So, of course, Dapper Dan, everybody bowed down and everybody kissed his ring, and everybody should because he's earned it.
Well, again, you guys talked about the table cost and this cost. Where does the money go, Al Reynolds?
Well, we're not going to talk about
Well, you just
that.
asked us to give
What?
a dollar. You said you gave $100. You want us to
Yes, yes.
Wait,
Well,
let
we
me
know
just
that
say
we.
this. Let me just say this.
Uh-huh.
We have been tasked to give money to the Smithsonian African American Museum, and you just told us
Yes,
to give a dollar in money to the Met. Which one we give it
yes.
to? Talk
Look,
to us.
listen, we are in a state of emergency here in the district in Washington, D.C. As it relates to the African American Museum. We need to give all the money we can over there. But you got to think about this, Neil. Who do we give that money to and where does it sit? We don't want to give money to
Hmm.
the African American Museum and then Trump takes the money and takes all the black stuff and shut it down, right? We want to give it to, and I want to make sure, I'm sure you guys know the correct organization to give that to, because as you know, the executive director is being transitioned. Now, all I'm saying as it relates to the Metropolitan Museum of Art is for a very long time, they said that we could not bring numbers. They said that about us being lead actors. They said that about us as models being on magazines, that we don't draw the money. All I'm saying is if you can give a dollar to this particular Met Gala 2025, let's show not only to America, but to the world that people of color have, will, and will continue to be the biggest money raisers, the biggest influencers across the globe.
But where does the money go? Was the
So
question.
it goes to a benefit. Let me see. I can look this up for you. I did look this up, and I knew this that you would ask me something that I'm not prepared for. That is Neil. I promise you. As we sit at her kitchen table, we always have these debates. I'll find out for you.
Yeah, okay. You let us know later.
Let
But
us know.
in a nutshell, before we let you go, what is your takeaway from this year's Met?
That it was a fantastic success. It was definitely a Black people moment. It was a full circle moment. It was about excellence. It was about identity. It was about resistance. It was about beauty. It was about color. It was about everything that everybody in this country wants to be as it relates to fashion. And not only did we show up, but we showed out.
Yes.
Al
Thanks
Reynolds,
so
we
much.
appreciate you
All
Yes.
joining
right.
us
Yes.
this morning.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Everybody
All
have a
right.
great day. And thank you for allowing me to participate.